Yeah, man. So the G League, they've been making moves. They've been making big moves. I don't know if you heard they have recently started voting on creating a players union.
Yep.
They're getting organized, and one of their big moves that they made, I think this was last year. I think in 2019 they released this, the select contracts to allow for non-NBA eligible players, so straight out of high school, to sign a one-year deal to play minor league basketball, essentially, in the development league. And technically, you could say that's much higher competition than even college, because most of these guys are fringe NBA. A lot of them have contracts in the NBA. They're two-way deals,
100%.
right? And they're grown dudes. These aren't lanky high school kids that just finished and are now. These are grown dudes
They
in
get
NBA system, right? With professional trainers and everything.
100%. They get a crazy amount of experience out of this. Players will be joining the league as draft picks. So there's in the G League, there's a 4-round draft that players are entered to in a pool, and teams select them. They're not affiliated directly with the NBA teams, so the players cannot get called up, which is important because
that's only with the select contract.
Mm-hmm. So players like Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga are earning $500,000 to play in the G League rather than not making any money in the NCAA. I know the NCAA just voted on a rule that you can make money on your likeness. What is it?
So from what I've read, the NCAA ruled that universities are still not allowed to pay their players directly, but the players can sell their name and likeness to advertisers, essentially, to sell products, right? And just to backtrack just a little bit, I want to give a little background for anyone that doesn't know. Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga are the number 1 and number 4 recruits coming out of high school.
Serious stuff.
So big stuff. These are the recruits essentially in the game, and they both signed contracts, these select contracts in the league. For sure, from what I've seen, they are now the 2 highest paid players in the G League, making $500,000 each. But that's huge. For these players, they would have had to go at least to college for 1 year, where, yes, they get the scholarships. They get to go to these big-name programs and get more recognition. But on the flip side, they get paid $500,000 a year. They already get to sell their name and likeness. They don't have to ask the G League for permission. They don't have NCAA for permission. They could already do that. And they're affiliated with the teams. Not directly, of course, but the head coach comes down to – I know at least from the Heat, I know Eric Spoelstra goes down to Sioux Falls from time to time to say hi to those players and take a look. Right? So can you imagine being an 18-year-old that just signed a $500,000 contract? NBA coaches coming to your games and saying, hey, you on my team, here's a few tips. Here's how you get better, right? They send personal trainers over. Say, guy, that's an NBA guy. That's no longer a college trainer. That's an NBA guy.
Think of this. Tying it back into players in quarantine. They could honestly see the G League and see all of these moves that they're making.
Dude, they see dollar bills when they see the G League.
They'll be like, why would I choose to play basketball in college where I don't make money for me and my family who they haven't made it yet. They're not NBA players yet. They're living lives just like us. Their name is out there, but they could see the G League as an opportunity to put food on the table for their parents, to give money just for a year. And then Kuminga, for example, he's projected to be possibly the first overall pick
in 21
in 2021. So I don't know. I feel like right now the movement there is a movement. Undeniably, there is a movement. Top prospects are going to the G League. It's not to be ignored.
Yeah.
So I feel like
And
the G League.
the G League is making themselves a lot more appealing to these players, because one thing that used to be the argument, right? Why not go overseas, right? Why go to college instead of go play professional overseas? It's because those guys don't have the right conditions, right?
Now
The
you can
G
play.
League was always
Now you can
yeah.
play professional right here.
You play here, and the G League used to have, from what, not the best conditions. They wouldn't stay in the best hotels. They wouldn't have the best transportation. But now this player union, they're pushing for these things. They're pushing for better hotels. They're pushing media coverage. Maybe will we be watching G League games in the next few years if all these top recruits go there?
Trust me, this year I'm going to be tuning in for sure. It's just like I hope the games have a college feel and maybe almost even an NBA feel, because
But
it
even
is
then, dude,
serious.
one big difference. I just thought of this right now. This isn't even in our notes. They have the full NBA size 3-point line.
Yep.
They don't play on the college line.
That prepares them even more too.
That's huge, because a lot of big questions whenever we're doing draft analysis, when people are doing scouting, will the shot translate to NBA? Well, now we know for a fact they're shooting on the same
They're
line,
shooting on it.
shooting on the same court. That's exactly a 1-to-1. You know, if you're shooting 40% in the G League, you'll
100%.
be shooting 40% in the league, right? You know for a fact that it'll translate. These players are going to get better shooting, better development, everything, man. I don't see a case for why an 18-year-old kid out of poverty that is a number one recruit should ever choose to not get paid $500,000 to play basketball professionally.
Let's look at the other perspective for a minute too, because I do want to address the positives of the NCAA.
All right. Sell your case, dude. Sell your case. I'm open to hearing it.
I personally, I go to FSU, and going to an FSU basketball game, we were 4th in the nation this year. The stadiums are electric. The college environment for football as well, but basketball too, is insane. The arena is shaking.
Yeah.
I had a crazier experience at Florida State versus Louisville than I did at any NBA game I've been to. The environment is electric. So I feel like they still have that appeal to them because it is so strong.
It takes a certain type of player right now, a certain type of person to choose NCAA. So I do have to take back a little bit of the harsh against them. I feel like you need to at least have some kind of safety net now.
Speaking
right? You need
of,
at least be able to, and these people are maybe going to want to focus on their education too, which is not something we see all the time with NCAA players. So the players that want to focus on their education, who want to stay maybe 3 or 4 years, right, get at least some kind of degree or even a certificate, those guys definitely would benefit. The ones that want to play for school pride, those would benefit. But listen, if I'm making a choice, if I'm saying, hey, here's NBA fringe players competition, right, NBA development staff, and $500,000, or put on a famous jersey, that's a tough choice. But I think I'm gonna go with the money in my pocket.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow our social medias for more updates. See you next time on Backseat Banter.